Hi, Daniel, here again to complete your second reading. The second reading will be a month forecast, basically for approximately the next 30 days, which would basically put us in June. So, for the month of June, this is going to be. And again, your significator is still going to be the King of Pentacles, still using the Tarot Illuminati by Eric Dunn. And let's see what we've got. I already see good things. On the bottom, we have strength, which is good as a start here. But let's see what we've got. Okay. In Aries, you have the Six of Wands. In Taurus, the Seven of Cups. And I will, as always, do my best here. Gemini, Queen of Cups. Ah, wouldn't you know? And Cancer is the Star. Leo, we have the Tower. Virgo, we have the Emperor. Libra, the Seven of Swords. Scorpio, the Ace of Wands. Sagittarius, the Nine of Swords. Capricorn, Eight of Cups. Aquarius, Death. And Pisces, the Four of Wands. Okay, so this is a sort of a mixed bag here, but we do have strength in the bottom. And again, the Two of Cups and the Three of Cups, which enforces what we were saying in the previous reading about how this is a time for you to develop relationships. And I think that we're seeing this. It's funny, in the previous video, I talked about how you were missing the Queen of Cups, and she came up, wouldn't you know? So let's see what we've got here. From your personal perspective, I think for the next month is going to be one actually of success. Which is, the Six of Wands was in your previous reading as well. And, perhaps this is adding to that and saying that whatever it is that is over for you that was in the previous reading is something that you're still proud of, and something that you still feel very accomplished about. And that will continue to land you various acclaim and whatnot for the next month. And your Taurus, I interpret Taurus as sort of your financial situation, your possessions, and you have the Seven of Cups, which was in your previous reading as well. And so you clearly are going to be still searching for that missing something that you feel is lacking. Again, from that previous reading. Um, Interesting. I might come back to that. But it does. There's this overall sense of hunting for something. The Queen of Cups is in Gemini here, and this is, people that you will meet over the next month. And the Queen of Cups is going to come your way. So some female person, and I think that this is, the type of person that you're going to get along with well, and this is the type of person that you are being drawn towards at this point in your life, considering the previous reading anyway. Um, so that is really good. So I feel quite vindicated by her coming up. The star is in Cancer for you for this month. And I think that, the Cancer is, for me, more your private life, your personal emotions. And the star tells me that you're going to be feeling very hopeful, actually, for the next month. Feeling like things are opening up for you, feeling like there are opportunities available for you, like you have a lot of options in front of you. And I think, partially, I do think that, meeting people like the Queen of Cups is what's going to help you with that, help you feel less closed up. Leo, however, we do have the Tower, and Leo is the sign of your passions, what you're interested in, what you love to do. It can also represent love more literally, but I tend to see Leo as your passion, as your drive to do that which you love. And the Tower here does reinforce what we were saying in the previous reading, that something that is dear to you is over and has caused you to really reevaluate things. And it is a turning point here. Um, okay. Uh, it just doesn't say very much other that was different from what we said from the previous reading there. I would say. Moving on to the next card, we have the Emperor in Virgo. And this tells me that Virgo is, of course, the sign of physical well being and your health, your physical condition. And the Emperor tells me that you're going to take good care of yourself over the next month. You're going to be pretty strict about, what goes into your body and how you take care of yourself. You're going to be pretty even about that, even and fair, and just you're in the right place with that. So that's a good thing, and possibly even taking some initiative with your health, perhaps. Taking greater control of your health, putting it more into your own hands instead of letting it just be what it will be, as some people do. Uh, so that this is good. Um, Next, we have in Libra, which is the sign of decisions, and I really see it as it is traditionally the sign of marriage and your relationships with people that are perhaps closer than just friends. You are really close to these people. These are like your best friends, your spouses, brothers, family, sisters, etc. That type of connection is also associated with Libra. Uh, but I also see it as, associated with decisions that have to do with others. And you do have the Seven of Swords. So I don't know if, logistically speaking, the next month is going to be a little worrisome for you. Um, there is something not quite right about that Seven of Swords there. And I don't know if it is connected at all to something in your financial situation with this Seven of Cups, um, because those are your only two sevens in the reading. So they are loosely connected for me. There is a bit of a bridge there. Um, but I don't know if I can say much other than that. I think that uh, there is potential here for. I almost get the sense of, if I were to see it as a, a kind of decision that you have to make, then I would say that your your sort of decision making process about what to do with your money, with your financial situation here in the Seven of Cups, is possibly going to cloud your vision in some way, or it's going to feel like there isn't there aren't many options there, which is funny because we just said that there were going to be options here, feeling like there were options. In which case, perhaps the star is saying that you're going to feel that sense of opportunity more so in, again, your social life and less so perhaps in your. Well, I don't want to say that either because the star and the Seven of Swords are both Aquarius. And so for me, those two also have a connection. So it's a little it's a little vague. I want to come back to that and just keep on going here. For Scorpio, you're either either your sex life or really it can also be inheritances. But I tend to see Scorpio as more your sexual will, if you will. And the Ace of Wands tells me that that is going to get a little bit of a boost, which is good because that signifies vitality, and I think it's perfectly healthy. So that's good, and I do think possibly considering that your social life is going to pick up, that may or may not have something to do with it. Uh, that is what I would suggest anyway, is that those two things seem related to me anyway. Next, you have in Sagittarius, you have the Nine of Swords. Now, Sagittarius is the sign of your personal. I almost see it as like the sign of your sense of faith, your sense of philosophy, your personal outlook, your personal manifesto, if you will, and how you will be expressing that for the next month is in the form of the Nine of Swords. And so I think you may go through a bit of a spiritual crisis over the next month. And again, I think it is very much to do with this big turnaround that you've had to deal with um, in your life, in your career. I think based on the previous reading, whatever big shift has happened here, I think that's going to um, yeah, I just see that as continuing to depress you in a sense, and keep you feeling more mundane and less spiritual for the next month. This is not exactly a month of spirituality for you. It is not really a month of feeling the spirit very much. And yet, I think the spirit is moving here for you clearly with the way that it's pulling you. And I think, maybe it's important for you to trust in that a little bit more, and trust that the spirit is moving for you in multiple areas of your life, and it isn't just in your social life, though it will seem that way to be. It'll seem more apparently in your social life. But I do think that it is going to come in handy. That it is going to kind of watch your back with whatever this unfair play is in the Seven of Swords, or whatever this weakness is in the Seven of Swords. Um, your career, Eight of Cups. Career is the same card as your central card from the previous reading, which is very interesting to me. And again, I think either retirement or something like it. You are shifting careers, you're changing careers, and clearly letting go of that has been very difficult and will continue to be difficult for you over this month. And I think also that's echoed in death with the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is more how you fit into the group at large, how you relate to the world around you, really, is kind of how I see Aquarius, how you relate to your community. And that is, something that you're going to have to change, but not necessarily get rid of entirely. Of course, we have to remember that death is a change and is not a final ending. And that is important for you to realize here, that your connection with people is going to change and be less about work. You don't have to connect with people only through your job, is I think what this situation is really getting at for you. Being a Virgo, you're naturally going to want to relate to people on a practical level like that, but I think that this is an opportunity for you to grow. The last card we have is the Four of Wands in Pisces. And Pisces is sort of, your psychological state for the next 30 days, dreams, subconscious stuff, musings over the next 30 days. And Four of Wands tells me that your psychological state is actually going to be good. There's this weird, like, I get the sense that while you are depressed about this situation, the Four of Wands uh, tells me that you're going to stay grounded through it. Because you don't strike me as a particularly emotional guy, and so I think you're going to be able to stay grounded, but at the same time, I don't think you should completely ignore some of the stress here. I don't know. It's a weird conflict there, but I think overall the Four of Wands is telling us that you will have the next 30 days aren't going to be all that bad for you. um, in reality, Um, and I think honestly, it might even be to some extent this sense of rest to a degree. Alternatively, I can see it as a kind of flowering of a relationship because of the picture of the card. Um, that perhaps psychologically that is going to be what you focus on or choose to focus on. I definitely think that the pickup to your social life is, as I've been saying, is going to be what pulls you through whatever darkness that you have to deal with through this change of position. Um, but uh, but yeah, this is not to say that it won't be hard. Uh, and that's really about all I've got here. Seven of Swords. What were we saying about you? Um, yeah, that is still very tricky. Seven of Swords is the moon in Aquarius, and you don't have any other lunar elements. You have Aquarius here, and you have another seven here. Now, if we were to group them by triplicity, just for S and G, as they say, Six of Wands is connected to the Tower, which is in turn connected to the Nine of Swords. So, on one hand, you on one hand you have this fairly positive outlook, because for the most part you are confident in yourself and you are proud of your successes. On the other hand, you are dealing with this big shift and almost erring on the side of catastrophe that is that is destabilizing your confidence. And at the tail end of that trajectory, we get the Nine of Swords. So I think over 30 days, your sense of willpower is may dissipate under some sense of strain, um, from just the some of the stress associated with this whole situation, Um, water triplicity we have, or rather, yes, let's go in elemental order. Water, we have starting with Cancer, the star. Then we have Scorpio with the Ace of Wands, and then we have the Four of Wands in Pisces. So we have more wands here, which is good. Uh, I see it as, the star, again, representing that initial feeling of a blossoming or opportunities with your social life, continuing to pursue that perhaps a little more intently or deeply. I'm just going to hold my tongue. Uh, or just more intimately, I'll say. And then last but not least, with Pisces, I think, I do think that this is going to eventually establish something for you, something a little less flighty than the Eight of Wands in your previous reading, which was sort of what you were leaning towards, overall. Um, I see you becoming more stable and more grounded emotionally, which is really good. That in some ways, the topsy-turviness of this month and the upheaval of this current month is in some ways going to end up stabilizing you, because it's going to force you, I think, to do some focusing and some reevaluating and some recycling, which is never a bad thing. Air, we have, we don't want to start there. Air, we're starting with Libra here. Then we have Aquarius. Libra, Seven of Swords. Aquarius, 13 Death. And then Gemini, the Seven of Cups. Now, I think when we break it down this way, it's a little bit easier to perhaps interpret the Seven of Swords. So for your air element, you are going to start off feeling kind of like something's been taken from you, like something's been robbed from you. I just, yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I don't know if you have, if this was not necessarily retirement or if you were laid off or something like that, but your air cards do not give me a good vibe, and I see you as um, mostly feeling this sense of like something's missing and something's lost, and that's going to be the source of your stress for the month. Your mental state for the month is going to be a little unstable, in the sense that in the sense that it's just not going to feel quite right because it's just different. You haven't adjusted to it yet. Because again, I don't want to contradict what we've been saying before about, you know, your overall outlook ending fairly positively with the Four of Wands, which I think is true. But I think, you know, mentally, you're in your day to day. It's going to be a change, and it's going to be tough to get used to. And I think at the end of it, you're going to just be looking for as many options as possible, really, to sort of replace this. And last but not least, we have Earth, which starts with Capricorn here, the Eight of Cups. Then we get Taurus with the Seven of Cups. Excuse me. No, I goofed that up before. Sorry about that. Your air actually ends in the Queen of Cups with Gemini. I'm sorry. So the Seven of Cups. Forget what I said about that before. I think actually this is much better then, luckily, because we start with the Seven of Swords, reach death. There's this sense of change and alteration, but by letting go of that, you end up getting connected with the Queen of Cups, which is, again, from your previous reading, sort of what we've been looking for here. So this is good. This is a good thing. That this sense of change is not necessarily a bad thing for you. Now, your Earth. Okay, let's go back to Earth. Capricorn, Eight of Cups. Taurus, Seven of Cups. And Virgo, the Emperor. So here, I think, you know, we go from your material condition is definitely going to be in a state of flux this month. You're not quite going to know how to go about it because there are several choices and options in front of you, and you know, I think between it's tricky to say. But I think, you know, I do think that overall you're going to be able to come out on top from that. I do see you as, by the end of the month, coming more into a sense of control over that, feeling more like you have things better stabilized overall. You know, so as you can see, I'm trying to read these, you know, from a singular level and then from a macroscopic level. And I hope that this works and that this makes sense. You know, you'll have to let me know if this comes true, if this is accurate, because I don't usually do real, I suppose you could say, fortune-telling readings. So I am curious if you know, my predictions are correct, so please let me know. And I hope that this makes sense and that it was helpful. I think that's all I've got here for you today. So again, thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate your purchase of the readings for the sale price. You're the first person to do it. Really, really thrilled to get to read for you again, and I hope I was some help for you today. And all best. I wish you the best of luck. I really do, because this does look like a very tricky situation, very complicated. I certainly would not know what to do. But it seems that you will know what to do eventually. You will figure it out. I have faith in you. All right. So, all right. Best of luck, and thank you again. Bye-bye.